Did you know that nearly every death after age 70 can be traced back to just 5 major causes? It's easy to think that growing older means these things are just part of life. But the truth is, many of these risks are preventable, and most people don't realize it until it's far too late. By the time the warning signs show up, the damage is often already done, but it doesn't have to be that way. You still have the power to take control of your health and your future, starting right now. In this video, we're going to walk through the 5 biggest threats to your well-being after 70, the ones most doctors wish they could warn you about sooner. Some may surprise you, others you may already suspect, but all of them matter because behind every statistic is a real person, a parent, a spouse, a grandparent, a friend, someone who still had more memories to make. So if you want to stay independent, active, and truly enjoy the years ahead, don't miss a second. These are the facts that could change everything and maybe even save your life. Let's get started with the story about the wake-up call nobody talks about. He had just planted tulips. Tom DeLuca was 82 years old, but anyone who knew him would have guessed 70 at most. His neighbors used to say, "You'd never know his age unless he told you." Still drove his Cadillac to church on Sundays. Still made it to his granddaughter Mia's piano recitals. Never missed one. Still wore cologne and polished shoes, like a man who respected the day ahead of him. That morning was like any other. The kettle boiled and the toast popped. The coffee brewed as sunlight poured through the kitchen window. Tom sat down at the small round table, his usual place, and began buttering his toast. His favorite jazz station played in the background. He had a dental appointment at 11 o'clock and then lunch with his old army buddy, Frank. But Tom never made it out the door. When his daughter Julie called at noon and got no answer, she thought he was just running late. But when he didn't show up for lunch or pick up Mia from school like he promised, she drove to his house. What she found would change her life. The coffee was cold, the toast was untouched, and Tom was slumped over, silent, still, with his glasses resting beside his folded newspaper. The coroner later told Julie, "Massive cardiac arrest, instant." He probably didn't even feel it. Julie asked the question every child asks when they lose a parent suddenly. Could anything have been done? The answer was soft but firm. Yes, there were warning signs. He just didn't know they were warning signs. This is where the story truly begins, not with fear, but with reality. Because Tom's story is more common than we want to believe. Most people over 75 don't pass peacefully from old age. In fact, nearly 99% of senior deaths stem from just 5 preventable causes, silent, subtle, and ignored until they aren't. This video isn't here to scare you. It's here to show you the path most people never take until it's too late. Because right now, at this very moment, your body may already be whispering. A little tightness, a little tiredness, a moment of breathlessness on the stairs. Most people dismiss it, but those whispers, they matter. That's why what you'll hear today is different. We won't just give you facts, we'll give you faces, real stories, real people, people who either caught the signs early or didn't, and how that changed everything. Stay with me until the end, because what you'll discover today could give you something more precious than extra years. It could give you more living in the years you already have. Let's begin with the most common, most deadly, and most misunderstood cause of death after 70. Now let's go with me to cause 1, heart disease, the silent stalker. It doesn't always come with pain. For some, it's a flutter in the chest when they bend to pick up the newspaper. For others, it's a vague sense of fatigue after a walk around the block. And for many, too many, it's something they chalk up to just getting older. But heart disease doesn't always come crashing in like a Hollywood heart attack. No clutching of the chest, no dramatic fall. Sometimes it arrives like a whisper, and then it steals everything. Let me tell you about real story. Bill's missed signal. Bill Miller, a retired carpenter from Bowling Green, Kentucky, was 79 when it happened. To anyone who met him, Bill was the picture of American grit. Calloused hands, a warm chuckle, and a stubborn streak that could outlast a tornado. For years, he'd been feeling a little more tired climbing the stairs. His wife, Elsie, told him, "Bill, go see the doctor." But Bill would just wave it off. "I'm not 40 anymore. What do you expect?" He started taking more breaks while mowing the lawn. He'd pause mid-conversation to catch his breath after walking in from the car. At night, he'd prop himself up on 2 pillows, said it helped him sleep better. Then one hot afternoon, after clearing leaves from the gutter, Bill leaned against the shed and collapsed. By the time the ambulance arrived, it was already too late. Elsie, holding his hand in the emergency room, looked into the doctor's eyes and whispered, "We were supposed to grow old together." The doctor simply nodded. "If he'd come in even 6 months ago," he said, "we could have done something. There was a blockage, but it built up slowly, quietly." According to the Mayo Clinic, over half of heart-related deaths in seniors begin with silent symptoms. Not dramatic pain, but subtle signs: unexplained fatigue, mild chest discomfort, shortness of breath when lying down, heartburn-like sensations after eating, swelling in the ankles or feet, and perhaps the most dangerous sign of all, apathy toward those symptoms. Dr. Melissa Rayburn, a geriatric cardiologist, explains, "Older adults are less likely to feel chest pain during a heart attack. Instead, they may experience confusion, dizziness, or nausea. These signs are often misdiagnosed or ignored until it's too late. So you need to set up action plan, what you can do today. Let's talk prevention, not the vague kind, but the real, tangible kind. 1. Schedule annual heart screenings. Don't wait for symptoms. Get checked for blood pressure, cholesterol, and signs of arterial blockage. Many clinics now offer senior-focused heart scans. 2. Follow a Mediterranean-style diet. This isn't about starving. It's about choosing foods that love your heart. Eat more. Olive oil, fatty fish like salmon or sardines, leafy greens, berries, walnuts. Avoid processed meats, fried foods, sugary drinks. 3. Move daily, even just 20 minutes. Meet Betty Ramirez, 84, from Arizona. She walks 20 minutes around her block each morning. "My doctor said it's better than any pill I take," she laughs. Walking, gardening, or even dancing around the kitchen, movement keeps the heart strong. 4. Manage stress with breathing or prayer. Chronic stress increases cortisol, which strains the heart. Start small. 5 minutes of deep breathing in the morning. A nightly gratitude journal. Listening to calming music or spiritual devotionals. Studies show seniors who engage in daily spiritual or meditative practices have 25% fewer cardiac events. 5. Watch for sleep-related symptoms. If you find yourself waking up gasping or needing more pillows to breathe, that's a sign your heart may be struggling at night. Talk to your doctor. Let me tell you about Margaret Lewis. At 77, she nearly ignored her chance to rewrite her fate. She had occasional shortness of breath, but no pain. Probably just allergies, she thought. But when her grandson asked her to chase him in the yard, and she couldn't keep up, something inside her shifted. She booked an appointment. The doctor found a 75% blockage in one artery. Within a month, she'd had a successful angioplasty and started cardiac rehab. Today at 80, Margaret leads a twice-weekly senior yoga class. She's vibrant, alive, and every time her grandson runs to her, she whispers, "Thank you, God, for one more day." And then, have you ever ignored a small symptom, thinking it was just age, only to find out it was something more? Share your story in the comments. Your experience could change someone else's life. Because here's the truth. Heart disease is the silent stalker, but silence doesn't mean power. The earlier we listen, the louder we live. Let's not wait for another untouched breakfast table. Let's catch it before it catches us. 'Cause 2, stroke, the midnight thief. It happened at 2:17 a.m. Ruth Green had gone to bed feeling perfectly fine. She had watched a rerun of The Golden Girls, brushed her teeth, and kissed her husband of 62 years goodnight. Her slippers were neatly tucked beside the bed, and her reading glasses rested on the nightstand above her favorite prayer book. But at 2:17 a.m., something shifted. Quietly, invisibly. A clot the size of a coffee bean blocked the flow of blood to her brain. And when Ruth opened her eyes, the world no longer responded the way it had the night before. She tried to sit up. Her right arm didn't move. She tried to speak. Her words slurred into whispers. The room tilted. She reached for the lamp but couldn't find it. Then came the fall, a soft thud that startled her husband awake. "I thought she just dropped something," he told the paramedics later. "But when I turned on the light, her face looked different. Her mouth was twisted. Her eyes were scared, like she couldn't reach me." They called it a wake-up stroke, and it nearly took everything. Strokes don't make appointments. They don't tap you on the shoulder and say, "Get ready." They arrive when you least expect them, especially after 75. In fact, over 70% of strokes in seniors occur at night or during the early morning hours. When the body is at rest, the blood is thicker, and warning signs are easy to miss until it's too late. But here's what many people don't realize. Strokes don't have to kill you to take your life away. Sometimes they leave you alive, but unable to walk, or speak, or remember your own name. And that's what nearly happened to Ruth. I will tell you about the warning signs were always there. Weeks before her stroke, Ruth had complained of headaches, especially in the morning. She told her daughter, "Sometimes I feel a little lightheaded when I get out of bed." She'd been skipping her blood pressure medication. She didn't like how it made her feel. She started sleeping more during the day, watching more TV, avoiding long phone calls, tiny things that felt like normal aging. But these weren't harmless quirks. They were signals, her body's way of crying out for help. Ruth's daughter later said, "I wish I knew what to look for. I would have made her go in." That's why you're watching this video today, because now you will know. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, identifies uncontrolled high blood pressure as the single leading risk factor for strokes in older adults. Yet it's also one of the most manageable risks. Other stroke triggers include atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat, diabetes, smoking, sedentary lifestyle, poor diet. But the most dangerous factor? Not taking symptoms seriously. If you're watching this and thinking, "That sounds familiar," don't panic. Start here. Start small, but start today. 1. Monitor your blood pressure regularly. Aim for readings under 120 over 80 millimeters of mercury. Get a home monitor or visit your local pharmacy. Keep a log. Know your numbers. 2. Limit alcohol to 1 drink a day or none. Alcohol raises blood pressure and increases clot risk. Instead, try a calming tea or sparkling water with lemon in the evening. 3. Eat potassium-rich foods. Bananas, spinach, sweet potatoes, avocados all help balance sodium levels and lower pressure. 4. Improve circulation with movement. Even 5 minutes of standing, leg lifts, or toe touches increases blood flow to the brain. 5. Learn the fast warning signs: face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, time to call emergency services. Here I will tell you about a story of redemption, Ruth's recovery. Thanks to her husband's quick action, Ruth got treatment within the golden window. Within an hour, she was in the ER. Within 2, she was receiving clot-busting medication. And though the road was long, Ruth did come back. She had to relearn how to speak clearly, relearn how to write, Her daughter helped her practice by holding her hand and tracing the alphabet in the air. 1 year later, Ruth stood in her church, holding a microphone with a shaky hand and said, "I may not talk like I used to, but I still have something to say." She's 87 now, and she writes letters to stroke survivors, one slow word at a time. And now, what's one small change you've made this year for your heart or brain health? Comment below. Someone reading your tip could take action that saves their life or someone else's. 'Cause 3, respiratory disease, the forgotten breath. Breathing, it's something we don't think about until we can't do it. And for millions of older adults, that moment comes far too fast. Meet Joseph Clark. He never smoked a day in his life. He jogged well into his 70s. He played the harmonica. He was a retired band teacher from Minnesota who loved breathing crisp morning air and making pancakes on Sundays. But Joseph also lived in an old house, one with poor ventilation, a dusty basement, and a heating system that hadn't been serviced in years. And when flu season hit that winter, it hit hard. What started as a cold quickly became something else. First came the fever, then the shortness of breath, then the cough that wouldn't stop. His daughter drove him to the ER. By the time they arrived, Joseph's oxygen levels had dropped dangerously low. Diagnosis: pneumonia. Within 48 hours, he was in the ICU. Most people associate lung disease with smoking. And yes, smoking is a major contributor. But what about flu that lingers too long? Mold growing quietly behind bathroom tiles? Breathing dry, dusty air through winter months? Using harsh cleaning chemicals without ventilation? For seniors, any of these can trigger severe respiratory complications. According to the National Institutes of Health, aging lungs become less elastic, weaker in muscular support, slower to clear mucus and pathogens, and the immune system also weaker, making even common infections dangerous. Let me tell you about Joseph's turning point. Joseph recovered, but barely. He spent 9 days in the hospital and 6 weeks on oxygen. He lost 20 pounds and missed his grandson's high school graduation. But what hurt him most wasn't physical, it was emotional. "I took breathing for granted," he later told a local news outlet. "Now every breath feels like a blessing." That fall, Joseph moved into a smaller home, one with filtered air, a humidifier, and regular checkups. He joined a pulmonary rehab group and now teaches breathing exercises to other seniors in recovery. He still plays harmonica, softly, and when he does, people cry because they know how close he came to silence. South pulmonologists warn that respiratory disease is one of the fastest rising causes of hospitalization in people over 75, and yet it's rarely talked about. Common conditions include COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, pneumonia, bronchitis, asthma complications. But even beyond diagnosis, lung health declines naturally with age unless we actively protect it. Here are simple, powerful steps to reduce your risk starting today. 1. Get your vaccines. Flu and pneumonia vaccines are not optional after 65. Ask your doctor about annual flu shots, pneumococcal vaccine, RSV vaccines, newer but effective for high-risk seniors. 2. Use a humidifier in dry months. Moist air keeps lungs flexible and mucous membranes healthy. Avoid over-humidifying. Target 40 to 50% humidity. 3. Practice breathing exercises. Try pursed lip breathing. Inhale through your nose for 2 seconds. Exhale through pursed lips for 4 seconds. Try box breathing. Inhale 4, hold 4. Exhale 4, hold 4. 4. Purify your environment. Replace old filters in heating and cooling systems. Clean mold-prone areas like bathrooms and basements. Use non-toxic cleaners and open windows when possible. 5. Avoid triggers, secondhand smoke, pet dander, strong perfumes, dusty or crowded indoor spaces. Let me tell you about Estelle Johnson, 88, from Virginia, fell ill after Thanksgiving dinner. A light cough turned into bronchitis, then into full-blown pneumonia. Her granddaughter, a nursing student, insisted on hospitalization. Estelle later said, "If she hadn't stepped in, I might not be here." 6 months later, Estelle leads a small Zoom support group for seniors who've recovered from lung disease. She ends each session the same way. Take care of your lungs. They're the only voice your body has. And now, do you know someone who recovered from pneumonia after 75? What helped them heal? Share their story in the comments. It might be the advice someone else is desperately searching for tonight. Causes 4 falls. It started with a laugh. Martha Jensen, 76, was standing in her kitchen when her daughter dared her to try something silly. "Come on, Mom. Stand on one foot for 10 seconds. I saw it on the news. They say it can predict how long you'll live." Martha chuckled. She was fit, she thought. Active, lively. But when she lifted one foot, something strange happened. 5 seconds in, her ankle wobbled. She threw her arms out for balance. By 7 seconds, she had to grab the counter. 10 seconds? She didn't make it. They both laughed it off. "I'm just out of practice," she said. But 7 days later, Martha slipped in the shower. The floor was wet. Her hand missed the rail. She went down hard. The sound her hip made haunted her daughter for weeks. And just like that, Martha's independence changed, possibly forever. Falls. More than a bruise. When we think of falls, we think of scrapes, bruises, or maybe a broken bone. But for seniors, falls aren't just accidents. They're life-altering events. They lead to hospital stays, surgeries, long-term care, depression, and too often, early death. According to the CDC, falls are the leading cause of injury death for adults 65 and older. And here's the chilling truth. Most people don't fall because they trip. They fall because something deeper is failing. Dr. Lauren Hirsch, a geriatrician with over 2 decades of experience, explains it simply. If you can't balance on one foot for 10 seconds, your risk of death in the next 10 years more than doubles. Why? Because balance isn't just about muscles. It's about your brain, your nerves, your vision, your inner ear, and even your medications. It's a full-body orchestra. When one part goes out of tune, the whole system trembles. Let me tell you about. After the fall, Martha spent 3 weeks in the hospital, then 5 months in physical therapy, then another 2 months learning how to step into a shower without fear. She said it wasn't the pain that broke her. It was needing help to do things she used to take for granted. Getting dressed, going to the bathroom, cooking her own breakfast. But Martha was determined. I looked in the mirror one morning and said, "This isn't the end of my story." She started small, standing on one foot while brushing her teeth, doing heel-to-toe walks down the hallway, practicing yoga with a chair in the living room. Today, Martha can stand on one foot for 13 seconds. She still needs a cane, but she doesn't need help putting on her shoes. And most of all, she got her confidence back. And here balance boosters, simple daily tools to stay upright. 1. The 1-foot test. Stand near a counter. Lift 1 foot. Hold as long as you can. Can't make it to 10 seconds? Don't panic, but take it seriously. 2nd, daily balance training. Heel-to-toe walking, marching in place while holding a chair. Seated leg lifts. Gentle yoga or Tai Chi. Look for senior-specific programs. 3. Fall-proof your home. Install grab bars in bathrooms. Use non-slip mats. Add nightlights in hallways and bathrooms. Remove loose rugs and clutter. 4. Review your medications. Some cause dizziness or lower blood pressure. Ask your doctor or pharmacist to do a fall risk review. 5. Strengthen your core and ankles. These are your natural stabilizers. Chair squats, toe raises, and light resistance band exercises help. Cause number 5, cognitive decline, the mind that forgets its way home. At first, it was just a name. Meet Harold Whitman, 78, forgot the name of the grocery store clerk he chatted with for years. Then he forgot where he parked his car. Then, one rainy afternoon, he forgot where he was. He stood outside the library, keys in hand, confused. He knew the street, knew the sky, but the buildings, the cars, the people, it all felt wrong. A good Samaritan helped him call his daughter. That night they visited a neurologist. The early diagnosis, mild cognitive impairment. Not full dementia, but the signs were there, and the clock had started ticking. South memory loss isn't just forgetting, it's risk. Dementia, Alzheimer's, and other forms of cognitive decline don't just affect memory. They increase the risk of falls, infections, missed medications, wandering and getting lost, depression, social isolation, death. But here's the hope. Early action makes a difference. And about the story of Harold, Harold's family didn't sit back. They acted fast. He began daily brain exercises, walking outdoors to increase blood flow to the brain, a nutrition plan full of brain-healthy fats, leafy greens and berries, attending a weekly book club for seniors, reviewing and changing medications that cause fogginess. He also started learning Spanish with his granddaughter. 3 years later, Harold still has moments of confusion, but he's functioning better now than he was at diagnosis. His neurologist calls him the comeback kid. His granddaughter calls him abuelo. Okay, I will tell you about brain protection tips. 1. Keep learning. Your brain craves new information. Learn a new language, skill, or even jokes. 2. Stay social. Isolation speeds up decline. Join groups, call friends, volunteer. 3rd, do mental gymnastics, crossword puzzles, Sudoku, memory games, chess or checkers. 4, protect your sleep, 7 to 8 hours per night. Sleep is when your brain cleans house. 5, review medications. Some over-the-counter drugs impair memory. Talk to your doctor about alternatives. 6, eat brain-boosting foods, fatty fish, omega-3s, blueberries, leafy greens, olive oil, nuts. 7, move your body. Aerobic exercise increases brain plasticity. Even walking 30 minutes a day boosts cognition. And about the finally, this isn't just about living longer, it's about living stronger. Let's pause here, not in fear, but in clarity. You've just learned the 5 leading causes of death after 70. But what you've really discovered today isn't about death. It's about life. It's about Tom, who passed too soon. It's about Ruth, who survived her stroke and found her voice again. It's about Joseph, who learned to breathe with intention. It's about Martha, who stood up again when she couldn't stand before. And it's about Harold, who remembered who he was, just in time. You're not fragile, you're resilient. And that resilience starts with awareness. Let's make this simple, actionable, real. Heart health is in your daily walk and your plate. Stroke risk hides in high blood pressure and poor sleep. Lungs depend on clean air, hydration, and flu shots. Falls aren't random. They're your body's early warning system. Memory isn't a curse, it's a muscle, and muscles can grow. These aren't just facts, they are lifelines. Which of these 5 causes do you worry about most, and what will you change today? Comment below. We read every word, and someone else might need your story to save their tomorrow. Subscribe if you believe aging should be powerful, not painful. Share this with someone you love. It might add years to their life. Because remember, longevity isn't luck. It's preparation, it's purpose. It's you choosing to live with your eyes open and your heart full. See you in the next video. We're in this together. We're rooting for you. With all our heart, dear Seniors Life.